I have a take on Michael Lorenzen.
Oh, buddy, I can't
I
wait
can't remember
for
if I
this.
texted this to you. I think I did just text it to you. But all right, so Michael Lorenzen physically. Do you remember how Pokemon like they would go from like
Nope, nope, nope,
Okay.
nope.
Well, you
I
didn't play Pokemon?
it's like the difference in our age is that Pokemon thing. Like
Surprised.
people like 3 years younger than me and younger are all in on Pokemon. Like I just missed it.
You just missed it.
Just
That's a
missed
real
it.
shame because I was big on collecting them. But I'll finish this.
Yeah.
I'll finish this for the people that did do Pokemon. I think Lorenzen looks like if Aaron Nola like leveled up and morphed into an ace. Like he's like a bigger version of Aaron Nola. Like the same hair, the same kind of face structure, but I think like a little more like Herculean. So I was impressed today to do what he did. So
It's
yeah,
great. What
it's been a good episode of High Hopes. We'll talk to you guys next time on Go Bears.
Oh, buddy. All right. It's the Bet Parks Picks pod. We're going to get some gambling stuff later in the pod, but it's training camp. Elliot's down in practice. It's reactive practice time. That's what we do this time of year. Let's dive in, man. What stood out to you today?
So first, let me give a shout out. There was a real one at practice, and this is the funny part about the real one before we get into it. So they came up to me, said, listen to the pod all the time. Super appreciate, as always. Real one auto downloader, all those things. And he had his kid with him, or they, I should say, had their kid with him. And the kid had on a Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts jersey. Shout out Aston, if you're listening. Shout out. They said he listens to all the pods. But
hey, what up, Basil?
Like,
good job remembering the name. How hard was that?
Thank you, right? Thank you. It's not my strength. I forget the dad's name. So the kid's name.
I know, but you made a point to remember the kid's name, and I appreciate that because I know how hard that was for you.
Exactly. But here's the funny thing: whenever we do the earmuffs now anymore, I'm like, what's the point? It's just a bit now.
You was stared at right in the face.
We do it.
You're
we do it for
Aston.
The Aston earmuffs. We might have to start calling them the earmuffs. Brought to you by Aston. So yes, let's just say Aston didn't enjoy the rant on Quez Watkins a few pods ago with F-bombs.
Sorry, anyway, that one's on me, buddy. I apologize.
That one's on you. Well, we're on Quez, depending on how much.
I will be very diligent about the earmuffs, and for what it's worth, we used to curse a lot more. Like earmuffs are rare. We cut it down big time. Like there are pods we go without cursing. Like we used to curse all the time.
We never did the earmuffs pod. We never did the curse word pod.
Oh no! Oh, that's a horrible job by us.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
But we need to. Well, it still can be done. It still can be done. Like it's not like
SATs, and we'll do the earmuffs. I mean the curse word pod. All right, so practice today. I will say it had a bit of like lackadaisical is not the right word. Maybe it was just my like energy level going into practice, but it did feel like the most kind of chill practice of the day of camp so far. They had their pads on, so there was hitting. There were definitely some running plays where they tackled all the way to the ground intentionally or not. Like there were bodies on the ground.
Bodies on the ground.
Bodies on the ground.
That should be the title of the pod.
But the body bag training camp practice. So it was physical still, but I did think it was probably the least like energetic practice they've had so far of training camp. A couple things stood out. Two of which both are as the odds are going to be if we're talking about the defense with the Georgia players. You want the good news or the bad news?
Let's go with the good news.
So I thought Keely Ringo really stood out today. Keely made a play. It was 11 on 11. Jalen probably threw it from maybe the 20-yard line, 15 or something like that going in. So it was like a red zone drill. And Keely did an awesome job jumping the ball. The pass looked like it should have been for Devontae Smith, or that's what the intended target. And Keely jumped, almost came away with the interception, didn't come down with it.
Thank God, as the perfect training camp hold.
I know, trust me.
That was a scary moment for all of us. I wasn't there, but I was wondering earlier today, I had this kind of like chill that ran through me. It must have been when that happened. So,
well, but the funny thing too is I tweeted during practice, I'm now honestly surprised when a Jalen Hurts pass falls incomplete. and he proceeded to go 2 of 6 the rest of the day.
Okay, so you guys just stop saying these things. Stop making these declarative statements. Yes. You're there for the facts, Al. You know the old, was it Dragnet, the just the facts, ma'am? You know,
go back to my journalism degree. No more opinion here.
You're there to track the practice.
I'm basically a computer on the sideline.
I mean, would Elias Sports Bureau be editorializing on their statement?
That's a good point. So anyway, here's my opinion on Keely Ringo. So Keely,
can you imagine if you never gave opinions? If you're just
my God, well, it'd be a boring pod.
Here's what happened. Let me tell you. He was 10 for 14 today. He had 3 plays that I thought were very impressive.
Yes. This pod brought
sorry. I didn't think they were very impressive. They could have been impressive in someone else.
Anyway, buy some windows from Window Nation, and this has been the Bet Parks pod. So anyway, back to Keely. So he did jump the pass. It was a really nice read by him. And the reason I think, 2 reasons I think it's impressive and like a noteworthy play. I think with Keely, the big question was just how ready he was for the NFL. We know he's an athlete. He's a freak athlete at the position, great size, good speed, physical player. Like he has the physical tools. The concern for Keely, I thought coming into the NFL was, is the NFL ready from being able to play in an NFL defense, reading NFL offenses, instincts, those type of things. One thing that I read in scouting reports about him at Georgia was he didn't really make great plays around the football. Now, did drop the interception. I would say like it was a tough one, but I think it's impressive that he read it, he sat back and he jumped it. Like I thought it was really impressive to see from him. And we've talked about the cornerback position. Greedy Williams had a rough day today. There was a play where AJ Brown, he was covering him one-on-one down the sideline, and he basically tackled him. Like there were 3 flags thrown on the play. He essentially just tackled him. And so Greedy didn't have a great day. James Bradbury, I think he's, not to sound any alarms, I think he is okay. He did miss a team rep or a drill of 11 on 11. Josh Jobe went in there, so it does seem they view Josh Jobe right now as the starter, as the number 3 outside corner. And he has been behind Bradbury, so maybe it was just the side. But with one of their top corners out, it was Josh Jobe that went in there. So I think Keely still has a little bit to go. But if you look at the corners behind the starters, like Greedy Williams, they gave a little bit of money to. It's nothing. There's no super investment in him. Josh Jobe, undrafted rookie. The other guys are all undrafted. Keely Ringo, they traded like all the way up to the top of the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, to get him. And they traded a future pick to do it. So there's a lot of investment in Keely. We've talked on this pod. I said I thought there was a possibility that he would be a good candidate for a kind of phantom injury redshirt freshman year. Makes plays like this, he's not going to be doing that. So thought it was an impressive day for Keely.
Yeah, and again, I've been I think he's going to make the roster. I think to your point, they used even just using a 4th round pick on him in the first year. Like usually those guys aren't Phantom IR guys unless they're like Davion Taylor or someone who's like really, really raw coming in the NFL. So it's great to hear. I do struggle hearing Keely and not thinking of Ted Lasso now. So that's kind of,
it's funny when I was saying Keely, I couldn't think of why it sounded like I was discussing something else, but I guess that is it. I guess it is
and his last name's Ringo Starr. So, I'm never going to be able to think of Keely Ringo unless we say Keely Ringo all at once.
Yeah. Now imagine if, he had a name from Queen, then he could really have a hit. Not just, these little Beatle hits.
Look at you just bringing them back. Look at you.
Like that. That's for the throwback real ones on
That's
a
deep cut.
That's a deep cut. Yes.
Pretty deep cut. Yes. Not as deep as the SATs. That's an even deeper
No, that one might never get done. Although we do need some 5-star reviews. It's been a little while. So if you're listening,
download, rate and review. It helps us out. In all honesty, with football season coming up, the more people that can find the podcast, the better. And, we love our community. We love to spread the community. Anyone who's been in the chat and hung out, we love it. It's awesome. And people our favorite thing is when friends are made through this stuff and all that. So any way we can, grow the community, auto download really helps. Those type of things help and the 5-star reviews. All right. Give me I'm nervous because I'm sure it's about a Georgia guy, and I know you don't love it.
It's bad news and it's about Georgia. I think
it's got to be about Nicobe Dean. All right, what happened?
Well, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but Nicobe did not do team drills today. The first drill of the day, it was Nicholas Moreau and Christian Ellis. And then when the second team defense went in, Nicobe wasn't out there either. Nicobe did come out to practice. He had his pads. He had his helmet. He did at one point go into the trainer's tent. So I didn't see what the injury was. The Eagles practice tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get more information then, or maybe before then. So at first, the bad news isn't maybe as bad, because at first,
you thought he got demoted or something. It's clearly something. If he didn't practice at all, like with get out there,
right? That would have been a bigger deal,
right?
Yeah.
So but
he didn't have a helmet, so clearly he was not going to practice.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it is tomorrow.
Maybe it's one of those things where he wanted to practice, and the team said, "No, you're dehydration or this or that or whatever those things they track," and they held him out, and he's annoyed about it. Like that's possible.
Yeah. So here's a Nicobe thought too, just to like.
I get so nervous when you talk.
I'm gonna open up open up my heart and give like a real one auto downloader.
All right, Jeffrey.
Okay, you ready?
Jeffrey Lurie on the podcast. You've got to open your heart.
So here's the thing. I don't want to be the one constantly saying Nicobe's not having a good camp. It doesn't bring me any pleasure to do it on Go Birds and have a morning show hit and they ask about it. And then I'm on afternoons and then I'm on with Ike. Like, I don't enjoy always being the one saying Nicobe's not having a great camp. I want Nicobe to do well. I did the players lounge with him. He's a great guy, great story. Like his family comes. Like as much as you're in on Nicobe personally, I want Nicobe to do well. But when today happens, and so now Nolan Smith has stood out, Jalen Carter has stood out, Jordan Davis has stood out, now Keely Ringo has stood out, and I know Nicobe didn't practice today, but when Keely made that play, I'm just being honest. One of the first things I thought is, all right, well, there's another Georgia player that's made a play, and Nicobe has not. So I've never been more perplexed by a player than I am Nicobe, because he does check a lot of boxes. He was super successful in college. He had great instincts in college, which you think would transition to the NFL. He's good blitzing. He's a leader. He's great calling the defense according to all his teammates. It's just unbelievable to me how he literally never stands out. And I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. I know if you listen in the Go Birds feed, you've heard me say this, but it just baffles my mind. Like, I wish I could bring 100 Go Birds listeners with me to practice and have them just sit and watch and tell me like what they see, because I don't know. And then he didn't practice today. Like, it's not been a good camp.
The non-practicing thing is, you worry about an injury or something. It doesn't worry me from on the field perspective. I don't think they're like, you're bad, you're sitting.
For sure, agreed.
But
it's not good. Like, he's had a bad camp. And
I'll harken back to 1 year ago with a young man named Jalen Hurts.
I
training camp where Elliott kept coming on here and being like, didn't look great today, C- today, that, whatever.
Have a great camp.
And I said, like, you can't judge this dude in a training camp setting, especially when they're not even hitting, like, at least for the most part. And then, like, especially at linebacker, like, especially at middle linebacker, it's a hard position to stand out in these training camp drills where they're not running the football ever, really. They're not, like, really hitting. They're not doing, like, physical stuff. And then I'll get to the he's so small thing. Like, let's harken back to, I don't know, 2 years ago when there was a rookie who came in here who was freaking awesome at Alabama and kicked ass. And there are a bunch of people, not on this pod. On this pod, we were fully in.
Yeah.
We were pro, but we were battling the people being like, he's too small. There is no way that guy at that size can't play. And even the same type of things you would say, like, where you're like, look, I believe in Devontae Smith a lot, but I just saw him in person. Like, he's really thin. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Still is.
Right? But they're the same things. And what did he do in the SEC with a bunch of giant human beings who play in college football in the SEC and dominate? And what did Nicobe Dean do with a bunch of huge human beings in the SEC and dominate? And I'm not saying he's going to be as great a player in the NFL as Devontae is. I'm not as sure about Nicobe as I was about Devontae. But all I'm saying is, like, the not flashing in training camp practice and he's too small, like in person when you see him, like, those things don't sway me as much as I think they do when you're there watching it, because, like, I know this guy can succeed at a high level with big people. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. He was everyone. Like, and again, whether it's because he was the mind of the defense or the leader of the defense or whatever, we know he wasn't physically the best player on that defense, but every Georgia person who was there to a man says he's the most important person on that freaking defense. And it's the best defense we've ever seen in the best conference we've ever seen in college football in terms of talent. Like, so like, I get it. I understand that you can be there and it's not like in training camp that impressive, or you might be like, oh, he's smaller than I thought, whatever. Like, I'm not out on this guy until he gets a chance to prove what he can do in football games, real football games at real speeds that matter, because his history in real football games at real speeds that matter is pretty freaking awesome.
And I agree with that. Like that could definitely end up being the case. I'm just waiting for, maybe he's just never going to be somebody that flashes in practice. A difference between him, Devontae, and Jalen, I would say too, though. Like Devontae has physically, his weight is not big, but he is an NFL athlete. He has NFL speed. He physically checks the boxes. Jalen does check a box physically. Like he's an elite runner, good size. We didn't talk about this on the pod, but he told Mike Garafolo of NFL Network that his body fat is down to 7%.
Insane.
He does look, when I first saw him,
leaner?
I thought he looked, when I first saw him, I thought he looked leaner, but then I was like, no, it's probably just, what I was probably wrong, but he does look leaner now. I will say, like, he definitely does in his face and his body. I think his legs look a little leaner. I'm sure he still squats 600 pounds. Don't freak out, but he does look leaner. So that is noteworthy. But Jalen is an NFL athlete at quarterback. I agree with you. Like, I think your soliloquy was awesome. And it's like, that is the Nicobe Dean reason to believe what you just said. That my concern is Devontae and Jalen are NFL athletes, and I don't know if Nicobe is. That would be the difference for me. But I agree. Like, he dominated at Georgia, and maybe that's why it's so surprising to me he never stands out.
Yeah, and again, we have not seen him play in football games. Like, I will go back to the Jalen thing. Like I said to you, and even this training camp, like, he's looked good at times, but that the Jalen Hurts you're watching in training camp, maybe other than yesterday or whatever it was, a couple of days ago where he had that one great day, he's way better as a football player than what you're seeing at training camp. Like, he is. He's not like jumping off the field as the most special person on the field. He will, as soon as the NFL game starts, be like, oh, it's the best player on the field. Like, right. That guy's amazing. Like, so like, I just think there are certain dudes who, and especially at middle linebacker, like, I think it's just hard to flash in training camp at that position. Like, you're not involved in coverage as much as outside guys. You're not playing the run. Like, his best thing is playing the run. Like, you're not really playing the run. You're not worried about the threat of the run the same way. It's just not real football in the same way. Now, joint practices, that'll be more interesting and all that. But look, I get when you're down there and you see it, how it could be concerning. I'm just saying, I think it's way too early till this guy actually gets a chance to play in football games. All right, I want to get to more that we saw down there, but download the Bet Parks Sportsman Casino. I mean, this is the Bet Parks Picks Pod. It's the Bet Parks Picks Pod.
Like, I hate that we still feel it. Like, I feel like when we tell people to do it, it sounds like we're begging.
I'm pleading.
Exactly.
Yes.
But at this point, like, do you not respect our opinions?
Yeah, at this point,
you like our opinions on Eagles, but when it comes to another crucial thing, you don't care. Like, I don't get it.
I think what it's at, Elliot, is I should be able to say, hey, open your Bet Parks app and let's 100%. Talk about it. Because at this point, I feel like everyone should have downloaded it. We should all be doing this together. It's again, we went back to talk about the community that we have here. We love it. Like, we all do this stuff together.
Well, and beautiful. Here's the other thing. NFL game. Well, there's an NFL game tonight, by the way.
Buddy.
But NFL games are going a month from now. We will be setting up our first parlay of this season.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. There will be
pods. If you're new to the pod, which you could be, there's new people all the time. We appreciate you guys. Not as much as we appreciate everyone, the real ones.
You could get there though. You could get there. Like, there is no limit on the Roadie Auto Downloader Club. Like 100%. This is like, it is uncapped,
But a key way to be a part of the club is to have the Bet Parks app. And so when the season comes, we can all place the parlay together on Friday and track it on Sunday. Like, that's part of being part of the Go Birds family.
That's exactly right. And that's the best part, because like Elliot's right. Like, football season's coming, and there's nothing more fun than doing the Bet Picks Park pod and going through every single game and making our picks and making our parlay. And I'm jacked for it, man. And you can bet now on Pro Football Futures. We're going to talk about some futures coming up in a bit that you can bet on, all kinds of opportunities. I mean, I think Philly to win their division, I think is like literally free money, in my opinion. I know others might not. I think it's free money betting on our guy to win MVP. I think that's happening too. I think they're winning it all. Like, I'm all in on this team. Pro Football Future bets, of course. You can bet on baseball now. There's all kinds of awesome bets. Elliot talked about great soccer bets last pod on the Women's World Cup. All kinds of fun stuff to bet on, live in-game betting, same-game parlays, teasers. It's all there for you. The app is fun. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. And here's an awesome deal for new users. New users, make your first bet $10 if you win. You get $125 in sportsbook bonus back. All new users bet 10, you get $125 in sportsbook bonus. If your first bet's a winner, that's the key. BetParks.com has the terms and conditions. New users and winning bets only. Sports bonus bet must be wagered once. See the website for details. You must be 21 and present in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, what else stood out?
All right, so 2 things. One, someone in the comments said, I'll download the app after ESP explains why he has, I'm assuming he means a lead sign in the background. I'm a Leeds fan.
So this is a new one.
This is a new one.
You would know this if you were an old school listener.
And here's the thing, Brendan.
Elliot's dad is actually from Leeds. Literally.
So I'm a Leeds fan. Yeah. But he also said,
he's not I just chose a team in the EPL.
Correct.
Which, if you were doing that, I think Leeds probably not the direction to go in. If we're
they're not in the EPL.
No offense, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, Elliot's dad is literally from Leeds. That's why he's a Leeds fan.
Well, here's the other thing. He says, why do you have a Leeds poster up and no Philly Union? Buddy.
Yo, you didn't see that one coming, did you?
Buddy, I'm going to the game tonight. So, yes, I'm a fan of both. But the
What's
other...
What's going on with the Union? Is it good times for the Union?
Well,
they got the season back on track?
League. They're in the League's Cup. If they win 2 more games, they win 3 more, and Miami wins 2 more, Messi's coming to play.
Oh, look at that.
The march to Messi continues.
I will.
Tonight.
So I actually have a Messi take at the end of this pod.
All right, nice. I'm interested.
Yeah, in that. I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you brought up Messi, I'm going to get to it. I don't think.
All right, I bet you I can.
I don't think you're gonna like it. I don't think you're gonna like it. I'm gonna realize I did. All right, tell me what
the other commenter actually brought up something I wanted to talk about with practice. M. Karras says, "How's Patrick Johnson? Will Patrick Johnson ever be more than a special teamer?" One of my takeaways today is the Eagles' defensive line is insanely deep. We talked on the last pod about how I think there's depth issues at tight end, offensive line, receiver, running back, not running back, safety, linebacker. There are depth issues. One place there is not depth issues is along the defensive line, and
which is probably the most, if you other than quarterback, if you could say, all right, I want to, it's that an O-line, right? You pick one of the trenches.
Yeah, and the thing about O-line is you don't rotate, so you would probably pick.
So, no, you would take D-line. You're right. That would be the number one choice.
But he's had a really good camp. He had a sack today. I think he has I know he has at least one other one. In my head, I feel like he has 2 more. He is very athletic. He's not as long as Nolan Smith is, and he's not as physically imposing as a Hassan Reddick or a Josh Sweat. But when they send him off the edge, I do think he's a good player. And he's somebody that has only ever just made plays when given the chance. I feel like he has good preseasons. I feel like the snaps he gets in the regular season, he's been pretty good. So I'm in on Patrick Johnson. I definitely think he can be a top 8 player on this. Maybe not top 8, but he can be a 9.
So let's quickly do the D-line. Let's say they'll probably keep what, 9 or 10 there?
So they'll keep, I can pull this up.
Yeah, so we can go quick off the top of our, we can go obviously, so I guess Reddick counts as a linebacker, but we're going to count him for this in terms of just rushers and linemen.
So here's who I have them currently keeping.
Yes, all right, good.
Fletcher, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, obviously all locks. Reddick, Sweat, Graham, Nolan Smith, obviously all locks. So that's 8. Now I think I do have Patrick Johnson on. I have him as the 5th defensive end, and I have them.
Did you say 5. Barnett yet?
I didn't say Barnett.
Well,
that is a good
interesting,
point.
Right?
Well, but I gotta think about.
Is he a lock? That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm bringing him up. As you're talking about, there's an interesting one right there, right? Patrick Johnson versus Derek Barnett, that type of thing, where you've got this guy who you paid some money to. It's not a massive, investment, but Patrick Johnson's cheaper, or you don't have the investment in him. It doesn't matter. It's all it's done.
And they just redid Barnett's deal.
They just redid his deal. He's someone who's played snaps in the NFL, but Johnson's a guy who could flash and could have upside. How do you think they're weighing the Barnett versus that type of thing?
My reaction to the Barnett restructure is a little different than others. I do think it increases his chances of being on the roster. And I think without that, he would not be on the roster. I think they probably would have cut him. I don't think it guarantees him a roster spot. I think it was done with the idea of we want to keep him and this is the price we would like to keep him at. But training camp is still 3 weeks long. He's not really practicing. If other guys flash, I think they will let Barnett go. I mean, as much as the front office might want him to work out, and as much as I think the coaching staff still believes in him to an extent, we all saw that clip with Sirianni.
It's always him, man. And it's not like Sirianni drafted him. He was a holdover for this coaching staff.
And what's one thing Sirianni has really, really harped on?
Yes.
Penalties.
And he talked about in the press conferences, talking about how that's the kind of stuff that loses you games.
Yes. So I do not think he is a lock to be on the team. Now, that being said, I do think I should probably put him on my 53.
Oh
but
yeah,
I don't know who you
at
would
least keep
cut.
him around there. So the point is, there are 8 locks for that group, and
Right.
then it's
And
a
how deep
9
they
third.
go
Yeah,
elsewhere.
it's really interesting. Okay.
Because I have them keeping right now. I have them keeping 4 linebackers. I could see them cutting Sean Bradley and keeping Barnett,
Yeah,
or I
you
could
mentioned
see
that. I mean,
them.
you talked about how, like, you don't
Right.
feel like there's like a few, like you wouldn't be shocked if any line. I mean, you'd be shocked
Yeah,
if
like
Nicobe didn't
Justin
make the
Evans, the
team, but like,
safety. Yeah,
yeah,
Justin Evans, the safety. Calcaterra, maybe they only go 2 tight ends. I do think with the new practice squad, which is not new
it
anymore. I mean,
gives you
now you
more
can have more people
flexibility.
there. You have a ton more flexibility, and it really comes
And
down to
that
like
way you
who's going
kind
to
of
clear
think
waivers.
exactly. It comes
Yeah.
down to who do you think's going to get through and who doesn't. It's obviously a risk. You really don't know, but if you think a guy can get through and you still want him on the roster and you maybe like someone a little less, but you don't think they get through, maybe they try and play a game and get someone through and then bring them up on game day and stuff. So, all right, that's really interesting.
I'm trying to think other little takeaways I had. Joseph Ngata, the undrafted receiver, I think is having
My
a
guy.
good camp.
My guy.
He definitely has an NFL body. He made a few more catches today. He gets a ton of targets. I definitely think the backup quarterbacks really trust him and know with like his big frame, if they throw it his way, he'll be able to make a play on the ball. I'll be interested to see if he would make it through waivers because I don't think he's not like ready to play. But I think the Eagles would like keeping him in the building.
Undrafted,
Went undrafted. I would
so it
imagine
wasn't
a
like,
priority free agent, but yeah, I mean, so
I think he was a priority. I think he was a priority free agent.
right. So I think he's at a good camp. What else do I have written down here from my day? Let me pull up my handy dandy tweet, not handy dandy notebook. Oh, Kayvon Wallace has had a good camp. He talked after practice about how I'm like paraphrasing here, but like essentially lost weight and he feels his body is in way better shape. He said he invested a ton of time and money into his body. And I think that for him, like particularly, will help him. I think that he was a bit of a tweener. I'm not saying he has a linebacker body, but he really didn't have anywhere close to like elite speed. I don't know how much faster he is now, but when you're lighter, I'm assuming it's easier to run faster.
No, you're right. He did feel like a plodding safety out there.
Yeah, and he has an interception in camp. He's been getting first team reps coming into to camp. I didn't think that he was like a lock to make the team, but as of now, I think he could get snaps in week 1. So I think he's had a really good camp. And then the last note I would have is like Marcus Mariota had another horrendous throw today. It was a throw where I'm almost positive it was 11s. It might have been 7s.
So he's really been bad out there.
He's been bad. He dropped back today and threw it. And like the receiver was, so maybe it was a miscommunication, but I don't think it would have mattered. The receiver was still running straight and the ball was like probably 25 yards up in the air, just completely out of bounds. And it's so the way you know it was bad is because the second he threw it, I looked over and another writer looked at me and just gave a face of like, ooh, like that was not good. So he talked after practice. Apparently, this is his 8th system in 9 years. So
wow, I mean that's tough.
Yeah, and he's learning, but he just has not been very good, like at all.
Right.
And in fact, he's been very bad.
Clearly, that has been made very clear. All right, let's get to a little gambling, and then we'll get to final thoughts and get out of here. And by the way, I know you might not believe it. The rumors are true. Elliott Shore Parks and I will be together on Saturday at Parks Casino.
The streets are talking.
Real deal. Go Birds radio back in your house, back in your car, back on your radio. The first of many. We're on a string now. So if you've missed the two of us together on Saturdays, and I've noticed it, like the calls are just better when it's both of us. Like,
I love the fill-ins, but there's nothing like the community.
Nice. I had a great time with Tom Kelly, and we did get calls, but it wasn't as many calls. Just wasn't, So we love our people. We appreciate you. So be out with us. Okay. I picked the AFC North because I think it's the most interesting one to talk about. We did the AFC East last week, and I think they're the most two interesting divisions because we'll get to the other two, and we'll probably just do them together next week. But like the Jags and the Chiefs probably winning those divisions.
Right.
But this one's interesting, man. You want to try and guess the order of the odds for the 4 teams? I think it's probably
AFC North. That's Steelers, Bengals.
Correct.
The order, I'm guessing the Bengals are favorites.
Correct.
So the Burrow injury is a little interesting.
It is a little interesting.
I do wonder. So I forgot about the Ravens. People like the Ravens. I'm going to go.
It does. Yes, that is correct.
Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns.
No.
The
Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Steelers. Every year, it seems the Steelers are just completely underrated. Like
what's the difference? Is this one of those like they're all very close?
They're all pretty close, but still, I think we're both going to agree that the Steelers are the clear bet in this division. Like I don't think they're definitely going to win I think the Bengals win the division, but with the Burrow injury, with I mean, Baltimore, like, it's not like they're a lock to be great or anything.
I'm a little
like,
worried Baltimore's having not that worried.
A moment. I
Yeah.
could see it. Look, I think let's put it this way. I think the Bengals win the division, but if I'm betting on it, I'm betting on either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Here are the odds. Cincinnati is plus 150, and I think it was probably lower. I'm guessing it went up after the Burrow injury a little bit. The Ravens plus 220. That's a solid bet. Like, not the longest odds, but like plus 220.
I'm not super excited about that.
Okay, so plus 375 for the Browns. Our first earmuffs moment. So we're gonna make the Aston earmuffs brought to you. Aston, cover your ears. 1, 2, 3. Get the fuck out of here with the Browns at plus 375. Is the third best. Like,
you couldn't pay me to bet it. Even if you gave me $20 and was like, go bet it on this, I would be like, honestly, just keep your $20.
I would light it on fire. I'd be like, now just light. It'd be fun to watch it burn. Okay, so then the Steelers are plus 500. Like, it's not the longest odds, but like, I mean, come on, right?
The logic,
they're going 500 or better. This is a weird division. Weird things could happen. I like Kenny Pickett a bit. Elliott likes him way more.
Here's the logic on this is so simple. Burrow has an injury-plagued year. Lamar continues to be what he has the last 2 years, which is like a 500 quarterback
with a new offensive coordinator, and all that kind of stuff.
Steelers.
Yep.
George Pickens, like wide receiver 1, as I've been saying, might be the best receiver in the division.
That was a great call by you. Seriously. You were the voice in the wilderness. Well, that was Devontae. And it was too high and all that. That was the one that Devontae. Yeah,
no, I think that was next year. That was the year.
Was it the next year?
I think he was a rookie last year.
Oh, so you're right. Okay, so you were right then. But that was a good.
It was him
class.
And Jameson Williams.
That was a good rookie. Yeah, and obviously I think Garrett Wilson's probably the best of that group. But Drake London looked good. Like that actually looks like it could be a really good receiver class. But Pickens is a stud, man. That was a great call by you.
I know receiver talent. Yeah. It's the quarterback franchise swag I miss on some.
So we agree. Steelers are the best bet. Like, I think the Bengals probably win the division, but Steelers are the best bet.
And it's a fun bet. Like, sometimes we look at these bets and we're like, look, it's the best bet, but like it would be fun to root for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers all year.
Totally agree. All right, final thoughts. I'll give you my messy take and then I'll give you a final thought, but you're going to hate it.
Can I guess what it is? Can I guess what it is?
Sure.
All right. If I had to guess, your messy take is it's not fun watching him in MLS because he's just dominating. So
no, that wasn't it.
Okay.
No. And I get it. This has nothing to do with the MLS itself. Like, I get it for them. I get it for Miami and all that. I think it's sad. Like, I think it's sad for Lionel Messi. Not like, I don't think it's like, I just think it's sad. Like, it's like basically like if like Barry Bonds at the, like, maybe not the peak of his powers, but close, like still the greatest player in the world. Barry Bonds was like, you know what? I'm going to go play in single A. Or I'm going to go play in the beer league around the street and just play with these guys and just whoop up on them. And I'm like, so much like what? Like, it's just sad. Like, he's supposed to be the greatest player in the world. And he's playing in like no offense to MLS, but we all know like the minor leagues, like A-ball, you know, and it's just kind of sad to me.
So
as a lover of greatness, which you are a lover of greatness.
Right. So let me tell you why it's not sad. Because he has won everything there is to win overseas. He is the undisputed GOAT. He just won the World Cup. He might win another Ballon d'Or that I can never pronounce this year as the best player in soccer. He has won tons of champions. Like, he's already won everything. He can't go back to Barcelona because of financial reasons. So it was basically like, go to a whole new club where you've never played before, or I think there's something exciting for him coming to America. So like, yes, I agree with you. He is obviously dominating.
For another real club and win another championship. Would Michael Jordan have gone to play in the minor leags? No, he played in the NBA.
But Michael Jordan, like Messi, I get your point about win more, but he's won. I think maybe 6 Champions Leagues. Like, he's won an insane amount.
He doesn't care about winning as much as
he has literally nothing else to win. Like, he is
but Michael Jordan would say, there's more to win. I'll keep winning. Like, winning is all that. Right. Jalen Hurts. You think Jalen Hurts would be like, you know what? I'm good on winning. I don't want to be.
But I also think like
I don't want to be the best anymore because I was the best. I want to go be like the best with a bunch of like college kids. I'm gonna play with college kids and show them.
But he's also 37, so he's not in his prime. I know you're saying like kind of in his prime, but he is not in his prime.
I mean, it's a little sad, right? A little sad.
I don't think it is. So I've literally been debating this with my friends for like 24 years. I think it's fun. It's exciting. Look,
it's great for fans. It's great for soccer in America. It's great for the MLS. For Lionel Messi, it is sad. That's
So I
my
think
point.
it's great for him because I think it's good for his brand. It was this or go play in the Saudi league.
I don't care about does he want to be the greatest player? Does he care about his
He
legacy?
is.
Does he care about his legacy, or does
Nobody
he care
is
about like
passing
his brand? Like
The chances of somebody passing him are
I
insane.
think Jalen Hurts cares about his brand more than his legacy as a player. I don't think so.
But this is good for his brand and his legacy.
I don't care about his brand. I care about his legacy.
But this is good for his legacy too.
Oh, he was the best player in the world, and then he decided to finish it out playing with a bunch of children around the street.
Well, first of all, I think you're exaggerating.
He scored 105 goals in the soccer league around the street. It was amazing.
Inter Miami is a relatively new club, but he's like 24 goals away from being their all-time scorer.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
He could get it this year.
Okay. All right. All right. You got a final thought?
Yeah,
I have one other, but it's not as good.
All right. Here's my final thought. So I went to the Sam Smith concert last night at the Wells Fargo, and I
have heard of him.
Yes, you would recognize for sure one or two of
maybe.
So quick side final thought. He played his most popular songs first, and it was kind of awesome, and I loved it. But then it also kind of sucks because the rest of the concert I barely knew any of his music. Mm-hmm. So it was a bold strategy. But here's my take. Look, shout out Villanova, shout out the Wings. You guys are both respectable organizations. You shouldn't have your banners hanging at the Wells Fargo. Villanova it's not their home stadium. They play there. It's not their home stadium. The Wings, sorry, you don't get banners as big as the Sixers and the Flyers banners. And I know they're not as big, but you just don't. Like the banners that should hang in that stadium, no Bruce Springsteen banners. I want none of that. It is Flyers, Sixers. That's it. No more Nova banners, no more Wings banners. They should not be up there.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
I think it's a really good take. The Bruce Springsteen one, and I hate Bruce Springsteen. That one doesn't bother me as much because it's like a separate, different thing.
I don't even know if it's still up there to be.
Yeah, well, I know Fish has a banner in MSG. No big deal to them for the most sellouts there for a band. But because that's like gimmicky and that's something separate. Like I don't think of that as the sports thing, so I take it separately. The Wings and Villanova should absolutely not have banners there. Like flat out, I agree. Villanova at your freaking stadium, your arena at Villanova. That's where you put your banners. Yeah. And the Wings, like, come on, man. Like, I'm sorry. If there are Wings fans listening right now, I really apologize. But like,
if you love lacrosse, I'm sure.
Come on. Put the banners at wherever their corporate headquarters are. I don't. Yeah.
Like, let's be real. There should be like a 10,000 fan minimum to get a banner.
It's a great take.
How many fans do they really get? So
I think it's a great take, Elliot.
Yeah,
an all-time great take for you. It's really good.
I almost tweeted it, but then I didn't feel like dealing with it.
Yeah, people get mad, but I think the Villanova Mafia would come after you and all that.
Before everyone jumps in, I know Nova plays there, but it is not their home stadium.
Yeah, it's a great call by you. Like fully a Go Birds official platform.
Appreciate it.
All right, I watched The Truman Show while I was off. Have you seen it in a while? Have you ever seen it? Do you even know what
Truman
it is?
Show is one of my favorite movies.
Okay, great. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It was a lot shorter than I remember. It's only an hour and 40 minutes. I thought it was like 2.5 hours for some reason.
Super good. Perfect.
It's really great, man. It's thoughtful and it's saying something and it's like interesting and all of it. Jim Carrey's 100%. Brilliant in it. Like it is a great movie. My main no, it's not a but. It's my main takeaway from it was I could have absolutely been Truman Showed. Like I am super oblivious to everything around me. Like I would never notice something in someone's ear if they were listening to something, or I would never know. I'd be like, oh yeah, sure. That's especially if I was conditioned to like, I would never be like, oh, gotta see the world. I'd be like, oh yeah, you got a sweet TV and a nice family. This is great. Let's do this. Like I could so be Truman Showed.
So I 100% could as well. I would be tricked. I think if I was in that, like, even if the dude sat me down, showed me the operation, I would still kind of be like, okay. And I also say this, I would have just stayed. It's safe. Your life is great. Like
I get it in his case at that point why you have to leave. But what? No, somewhat. Once you know it's not real, you have to go. I'm saying like I don't think I could have. I don't think I think it could have. I could have been a TV show my whole life, and I would have never known. Like I agree. Emily jokes that she could rearrange the furniture in our house, and I wouldn't notice when I come home. I'm so oblivious.
Well, especially because if you remember in there, like it's like the bus passes every day at this time, and this person like blah blah blah. Like I'm a creature of habit, so
I think this perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. There's that woman walking again down the block at the
end.
Never ever notice.
It feels perfect.
You could put a camera in my house and I would just be like, huh, that's weird. Anyway, yeah.
So good.
So good. I would also be correct.
And everyone should watch the Truman Show if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
All right. Saturday. Oh my God, we're doing a show together.
Yes.
I feel like it's been like forever, dude. It's gonna
It
be
kind of
great.
has been. Has it been a month?
Yeah, it's
3
been a
weeks?
month. 3 weeks, a month, something like that. And then we had a couple before. It's been a while since we were on a run. So
yes, we'll be on a
get
run
ready.
now.
Get ready for the run. We're back. It's gonna be awesome. Check us out on Saturday. Call in. Until then, use Elliot James.
Boom, hit and end. Bye, everybody. Jeremy, Drew, I'm awake is this person's name. Brandon, Brennan.
I am
people.
barely
Wally.
awake.
Yes,
so,
I know.
yeah.
That should be your screen name. All right. I'm hitting end broadcast. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Love you. Thanks.